Welcome to the silence. Is the audio working now? Yeah, looks like audio is working now. Still no audio? Oh, all right. Cool. Cool. Well, my little dude is still not asleep, and tired of waiting for him to go to sleep. He is currently terrorizing my wife, and we're going to run this as long as we can. And if she needs help, I might have to bug out. Thank you, Hall. Right. Well, hey, man, every once in a while, I guess I have to start a show with silence. At least you could see I was trying to talk. So tonight's topic is going to be Eastern tobaccos and a recipe I've been playing around with lately. And I wasn't planning on it, but I want to talk on RY4s a little bit just because of Wayne's recipe of the year. And I am shocked that Cardinal won it, even though that's probably one of my favorite of my recipes. But I want to talk about RY4s for a little bit. And I've got to mix it or fix it, except I've already vaped it. I left the bottle at work. I might mix some more. He is right. It does need a 3-day steep time. And ID10T actually linked it to me earlier today, but I'd already mixed it. And I might mix one of ID10T's if we have time and test it off the shake. And then we will maybe report back next week because he says it needs like a 3 or 4 days, 3 days steep. Yeah, Jeffrey, I was, if one placed, I was totally expecting it to be Abuela as well. But I get why he chose what he did, because there's more RY4 fans in the world than there is fruity tobacco fans. But so Eastern tobaccos, I have been playing around with Oriental and Turkish and Arabic from Flavora a good bit here lately. And speaking of Flavora, they send some really cool stickers out nowadays, and I'm probably gonna stick that on one of my RC trucks. I have a Flavora edition racing truck, and I just had something else. My Flavora necklace. Anyway, in case you guys were wondering, Flavora partially sponsors this show in that, I'm not going to lie, they give me some free flavorings. I released Flavora recipes and shilled Flavora tobaccos long before I ever got a single free thing from them that anybody else didn't get. Like, you know, they'd throw me a freebie in the box when I'd order from them, or I'd place an order and say, you know, hey, I had a question about such and such flavor, and you know, what do you think about it? And they're like, well, here's a bottle, you know, tell us what you think about it. Anyway, I released some flavorings, and after they sent, I wasn't in the big group of people that got boxes of Flavora flavorings. Mine actually came later. They contacted me after some recipe or something, and and said if there was anything that I might need, you know, information on or whatever, to contact them. And they wound up giving me a couple of flavors, and I had called them to talk to them about something, and one of the guys said, hey, well, would the whole line help you out? And they did. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. irregardless of my relationship with Flavora, they are adult enough to take it on the chin. If I don't like something, I don't like it. And it may be because it's a crap flavor. It may be because it's not for me. But I'm not going to shill them, any more than they deserve to be shilled. Their tobaccos are amazing. They have several flavors that are amazing. And I guess if you can see from my recipes, I do what I think would be the most appropriate flavor in the profile that I am chasing. And for a good bit of the tobaccos, it happens to be Flavora. Just because. I mean, if you guys have tried them, they are amazing. Doesn't mean there's not other amazing flavors out there, but Flavora has done an outstanding job with almost every one of their flavorings. I think commercial tobacco is crap, but that's just me. I don't like tons of ash. Some of you people might, but not me. Anyway, not that there's probably not a use for it, but so Flavora Turkish is an amazing flavor. I think, to me, the Turkish tobaccos always brought to mind the Camel cigarette, because that's the Turkish tobacco that us Americans are exposed to most often than not. And Camel non-filtered was actually asides from Cool non-filtered when I was really young, or Newport's my weapon of choice in the cigarette market. And I smoked a ton of them. Hey, thank you, Andre. I appreciate that, man. And yes, Jeffrey, I have done Seedmans before, and we'll talk about those in an episode. And I have tried Sticks Mix. He actually sent me some. I requested some from him for the Noted show that I was on. They are excellent nets. They are. And I'm not going to take it away from you. They are excellent nets. They have true, authentic tobacco flavor. And I have vaped some of them, and I've done a couple of recipes with them. I hadn't released them yet, but we'll do a show somewhere along the line on nets. There's a couple of places you can get commercially prepared net extracts. I don't know that I'm going to talk about any natural extracts of tobacco that you guys can't go out and buy. I do my own. If you want to do your own, do a bunch of reading on it and do your own. I'm not going to talk about how to do tobacco extractions or anything on this show. But if you can go out and buy it, and it's a tobacco, we're going to talk about it eventually. Funny you should mention that, Nishef. Trucks, guitars, and tobaccos. I should do a blackberry smoke juice. I have a blackberry tobacco recipe that is not quite perfect, and it deserves to be. So once I perfect that, we'll release it. Anyway, back to Turkish tobaccos, which I don't know if you guys can see that. That's that guy right there. I was running low. They helped me out. It, to me, falls a little bit short of a Turkish, but it is very much in that vein in the Eastern, especially when you use it up high. I think it needs a little help for a few things, and there's a couple of different ways you can go about it. You can use other manufacturers' concentrates. You can use, that's the sound of my squonker being empty. You can use some of the Flavora flavorings. Their really expensive one, Arabic tobacco, is a really good Eastern tobacco. And let's go. One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to put stuff right here in this black space. I have tried using OBS to capture a browser window, and for some reason, it doesn't help. It's not working for me, and I don't know why. I guess I'll have to read about it. But Flavora Arabian, Arabic. Let me look it up. Boom. It is Shindo. It is nice and leathery. It is delightful. And I don't know, did you use it really, really low, or did you use it like at 1% or something? Because that flavoring is really good, really, really low. Like, I mean, it could even be useful in a dilution. Yeah, it's Arabic. I really enjoy it. Although I didn't, Arabian tobacco. Yes, Arabian. And it's really good low. I like it. It gets, to me, it gets a bit funky when it's used high. I mean, it's one of their higher priced concentrates. And typically with those, yeah, took like 2 drops, right? Yeah, it's dilution level. Typically with their higher priced ones, they're super concentrated, like almost, you know, I see people using Alpine Strawberry at like 0.5 or 1%, and I'm like, oh my God, how can you do that? I mean, it's flavorful at like 0.15 or 0.2. And I'm a strawberry non-taster with most strawberries. So I wanted to do a recipe that was Eastern influence, that used Turkish tobacco. I had a specific cigar in mind. I used to have a friend that was from Syria, and he used to travel back and forth. Yeah, yep, exactly. Dark and tastes like it was an Antica. Yeah. Anyway, used to travel back and forth from Syria to here. And, I mean, he's full-time U.S. now, full-time U.S. student, and doesn't travel back and forth anymore. But when he did, he used to bring me these Syrian cigars. And they were amazing. They were like almost a Turkish feel to them. They were a spicy tobacco, and they had a lot of like clove and just ginger and just different spice notes in them. They were pretty amazing. So I took FLV native tobacco, which when you get up at 2% or above with it, it has a spicy note to it and a cigar note to it, which I wanted this to be a cigar. So we're taking the main profile from it, but we're using FLV Turkish tobacco at 1.5 to lend its Eastern influence to it. Now, neither one of those is very complex or nuanced, and I wanted the tobacco profile itself to be complex and nuanced. And I typically lean on Connecticut Shade from Flavora for that. It's got some really nice, aside from the tobacco, it kind of tastes to me like cigar wrapper leaf does. It's got some nice coffee notes to it, some nice chocolate notes in the background. You know, just adds a good bit of nuance. You guys saw me use it in Abuela for those same properties. Let me make this public. What's up, Slash? Your recipe was actually the recipe I left at work today. So I might mix up another bottle. I might just talk about it. Anyway, we'll get to that here in a minute. Let me see if I got everything done here. Save recipe. And let me share this with you guys. And all the flavors is being slow. Alright, so here's the recipe. Now, I did use pumpkin spice in this, and I think I actually showed this to Shindo a long time ago, or talked to him about it when I first started doing this. And when I first single flavor tested pumpkin spice, my first thought was, I gotta throw this in a tobacco. I mean, it's amazing. It didn't have enough clove in it, and I know I'm using FLV clove a little bit high, but I'm using it, and I'm using wood spice to kind of, you know, lend that woody, more dry note to it. I had a version with lovage in it, and it did something a little funky. There's a lot of complexity in this recipe. There's a lot of nuance in this recipe. And when I added lovage with tobaccos tends to me to kind of like moisten them up and give you the fermented note that some pipe tobaccos have. And it didn't do what I wanted in this recipe. Although I have an Eastern spiced pipe tobacco that I'm working on that I'll probably use it in. Anyway, so I think I probably showed this to somebody maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago, and I have been working on this about once every 3 weeks since. And so, I mean, I start to play with something, and sometimes I'll nail it on the first try. Sometimes, you know, you just vape it. It's not where you want. You make a change. You make an iteration. You just finally get to where you really like it. I probably could have kept playing with this. Man, I can play with a recipe for a year and never release it. So anyway, decided we would talk about this one. I really like it. I've mixed it several times like this. I will say that I put 3 days steep time on it, just because you want that tobacco to die down a little bit, and you want that spice to die down a little bit, because they will both punch you in the jaw right off the shake on this, which is not a bad thing, but they come on a little strong. From about 3 days on, it gets really good. And this version, I mean, I'm not saying you need to wait 4 weeks before you vape it, but this version after 4 weeks, after 2 months, is pretty amazing. It works long steep, it works short steep. So anyway, I think we're about done with talking about this recipe. I'm going to do some more Eastern tobacco stuff. I've got a couple of recipes that I'm messing with Oriental. And I have actually a recipe. I thought it was ready, but it's doing something weird on a steep. It is a cherry blossom tobacco. And that might make Shindo happy. It's got a creamy edge to it. It's doing a little something weird on the steep. I'm going to go back to the drawing board on it. And but I think I'm going to start doing like a cigar week, and then a pipe week, and then a dessert tobacco week every month, and then just like a bullshit random week every month. And I don't know, maybe every month that has 5 shows in it. I'll do something non-tobacco related because, well, that's probably about a quarter of my mixing. I can't just vape tobaccos. I have to vape Mango Blossom Macaron. So, leading on to the next thing, RY4s. I didn't really plan to talk about this, but it, Jeffrey, right? It's got that really spicy note to it, which those small leaf Oriental tobaccos have. They're very, very similar to Turkish tobaccos. I mean, it's probably a different evolution of the exact same strain. But, all right, so I won a couple of awards from DIY or Die this year, and it really kind of, I mean, I'm honored. I think the most impactful, I personally think that there's more people that did more for the community than I did this year, but I really appreciate the recognition. I won a placing on Mixer of the Year, and I'm not necessarily the most productive mixer. There's tons. I mean, look at ID10T. He releases like 103 recipes a week, man. I mean, or maybe even 104 a week. He releases a lot of recipes. Plus, he's super active on Reddit. I can't remember to open Reddit more than once a month or something. Anyway, I mean, Concrete River, these are all people that, and Jennifer Jarvis, these are all people that really deserve the recognition. I think it's probably because of my work with tobaccos, and I'll take that, man. I mean, I've brought tobacco to a lot of people that wouldn't have normally tried tobaccos. And I like that. I mean, I think tobaccos are great. I'm glad a lot of people are enjoying them. Recipe of the Year #2 shocked me. I thought maybe it would be Abuela. I'm real proud of that recipe, even though that version is flawed. And I'm sorry, y'all can't try the 1.5 a month. Yeah, Dave. Yeah. I forget what I was talking about. Anyway, the recipe of the year. I'm getting there, Dave. All right, so Abuela, even though it's flawed, I mean, it's a fantastic recipe. The tobacco does fade, and man, there wasn't much more than that I could do about that. But I think, I mean, it's the best tasting, most complex version of that I had. There is a perfected version of that. I did something else with it. I'm not going to release it. It is a bit different. It's not as complex, but the tobacco stays. If y'all are clever and search around, you can probably buy it from somebody. But the Cardinal, man, I had bought, I'm weird with RY4s. I kind of like to do them myself. Jungle Flavors, ECX came out with Jungle Flavors RY4 Double. And to me, that's a better version of RY4 Double than TFA did. I really don't like it. I think Dave has described it as somebody put soft caramels in an ashtray, and then, you know, you put them in your mouth, and that's probably about how I feel about it. They taste, I mean, it's just dirty. It doesn't taste like tobacco. It doesn't, it's only a tobacco because somebody called it a tobacco. I mean, it's got a great caramel edge to it. You can get the vanilla out of it, but it's not a tobacco. And it's got a dry, scratchy thing that builds for me that I can't stand. So I've been a fan of RY4s for a long time. Um, the original RY4 I really liked when you know, just China juice way back when. I like the Hangson version of it. It's supposed to be the original version, but it's super close. It's a really good version. I like that one around 3% or so. I see people using that at like 9%. More power to you. I don't see how you do that. You're wasting a lot of concentrate. For you people that do like TFA RY4 double, I'm sorry, you're wrong. It's I just don't like it. But there are some others out there that, I mean, as far as concentrates go, I don't like FA's version. Um, the So Dawn at DIY Flavor Shack, I was browsing around on their site, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and I saw Holy Grail RY4, and I'd been using Holy Vanilla for a while, which we can talk about in a little bit. And I ordered it, got it in, tasted it, and I thought, man, this is a perfect RY4 except for one thing. It has no tobacco in it. It's got a slight coffee note to it. It's got a slight dirty edge to it, but it just isn't tobacco. But it was a perfect RY4. And so while that recipe won me second place recipe of the year, it really isn't my recipe. It's DIY Flavor Shack's flawed, perfect Holy Grail. I just fixed it for me, and I'm glad you people enjoy it too. Right, Soho is FA's second attempt at RY4. It's good, but it's like the tobacco for people who don't like tobacco because there's no tobacco in it. To get it to be a full flavored single flavor concentrate takes a ridiculous amount, like 8% of it. But Soho, you have to use like 8% of it. And I don't know, man. It's just it's a good caramel vanilla. It's not a tobacco. But it is good. So anyway, I won second place recipe of the year for a concentrate that all I did was fix it. And I appreciate that so many people like it. It is perfect now, in my opinion. Which tobaccos would I add to Soho? I would add probably, I don't know that I would go the red burley route with it. Just because Soho doesn't have any of the like darker notes to accompany the nutty aspect of red burley. I think cured would probably get lost in the mix. I'm thinking probably native, and if you like it dirty, probably a little bit of what the heck? Oh, native in Virginia. Hey Russ, how you doing, man? Glad you could make it by tonight. Probably native and Virginia. I think it's a perfect tobacco additive, Shindo AM4A. I personally don't get a lot of tobacco from it. I get a lot of tobacco nuance, I guess you could say, from it. I like it. So let's talk about, I'm not going to mix up another bottle of it, but let's talk about my Mix It, Fix It, or Nix It. And yes, I totally stole that from Beginner Blending and later the Failed Blend podcast stream thing. And I did get permission from them. So where the heck is it? There it is. Dark by Slasha LO. So this is an interesting one. It's, I don't know if I would call four flavors a simple recipe. I've been mixing a long time. 4 flavors is pretty simple to me. I mean, you should see some of the, well, y'all probably have recipes from 4 or 5 years ago, 12, 14 concentrates in them. And I think his use of Turkish here was great. I think his use of native tobacco here was great. It's a little low on flavor for me, personally. I can see where a lot of people would like this. I really like the sweet fig that he used in this, accompanied with the raisin rum. I think the raisin edge goes a long way in kind of helping the fig note out. I enjoyed this. If I mix it again, I will make a change to it for me. I think Gold Ducat would go perfect with this because the plum note in Gold Ducat will help the fig be more fig, and it will also help the tobacco be more tobacco. It is a very good recipe with medium complexity. As a tobacco lover, it's a tiny bit low on tobacco for me, but I can see the appeal for a lot of people. So if for me personally, it's a slight fix it, but that's only to my personal tastes. I think for a lot of people, this will be a good one. And especially for people that like a little bit more airflow than I do. It is a safe recipe. It's been on my stuff and to do, and I knew I wanted to do Eastern tobacco. I knew I wanted to do Turkish. It had Turkish. I would probably put 1.5 of Gold Ducat in there. That's low enough to where you're not going to get the predominant plum note in Gold Ducat. Gold Ducat's like this chameleon concentrate. Like if you use it under 2% or 2.5%, like 1.5% and 2.5%, it is two different tobaccos. 2.5, it's got a lot of spice to it. It's got a heavy plum note to it. It's got a lot more tobacco. 1.5, it's got, a good amount of tobacco with a decent amount of complexity. Some people can pick more plum out at 1.5. I don't pick out very much, but coupled with the sweet fig and the raisin rum, I think it'd be great. Hey, Graham, thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Mr. Burgundy, how you doing, man? I like this recipe. Slash did a good job with it. The other one, let's see. Dave had linked this to me. How long have we been running? Probably about 40 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah, 35 minutes. So, let's see here. Do I want to dig all these out? I think we're going to wait on ID10T's. I think we're going to wait on ID10T's recipe for next week because those flavorings are in 5 different boxes. And I'm sorry, guys. I don't feel like digging through 5 different boxes. So anyway, do you guys have any questions? Anything to add? Anything to comment? We'll talk about anything except for politics and football. I don't think there'll be any evisceration. The only thing that I can see that I don't know. We'll just have to see. The only thing that I can see that I might not be 100% with is FA Blackfire. It's just one of those concentrates. I think I tried it too high way back when. Let's talk religion. How about we not, man? Any thoughts on the Ares by Anakin? Jeffrey, is that the Pibasardo tank? Oprah for president. I think that would be interesting. Let's see, Connecticut Shade and Virginia. Instead of tobacco pairings, what pairing would you have for this tobacco? Connecticut Shade, Virginia, like the woodsy vanilla anise. Just make abuela. I like the ID10T. Do you like FLV bourbon in general, and more specifically, what do you think about the charred oak note with tobaccos? I love it. I'm weird. If you see, I don't do a lot of adult beverage recipes. Not that I don't enjoy adult beverage. I think I would rather drink them than vape them. Let's see. Luis Santos, please add chat to the stream. If you see the podcast, you'll miss some of the sequence of what you're saying. That's kind of why I call out the names and try to read off their questions, because I can't add that to the stream. That's a YouTube thing. I've done some reading on it, and they say there's some technical issues with including the stream conversations, as comments to the video once you post it. I don't know if there is or not. I'm not YouTube, so I can't, and I wish I could. So how's my Sunday gig going, Russ? My Sunday gig is going fantastic. I'm enjoying it. Let's see, what wattage, Jeffrey, what wattage would you run a tank like that at? I'm assuming no more than 20 watts. You know what, man? I'm at 25 or under on most everything. So, hey, Chris, how you doing? Let's see. Yeah, Mike, I don't know, man. The Ares was a fail by design. Basardo bangs on about airflow, holds size under the coil for MTL over and over again, then produces something with a load of hose diffusing the flow. You know what, man? I watched him and the Greek talk about it, and I'm interested. I hadn't ordered one, to be perfectly honest with you, man. I've kind of lost the zeal for vape gear. I would rather spend money on other things, and I've got a ton of stuff that works for me. I'm interested in, and I might try it at some point. It's hard for me to get off money for vaping hardware these days. I just have too much stuff that works really well. I see no reason to buy a bunch of stuff I don't like 99% of nowadays anyway. Yeah, so that's kind of why I hadn't bought one of those. Let's see. New best show in vaping. Thank you, man. Let's see. Oh, something I did want to talk about that's not general BS. I'm not one of these guys that can taste a concentrate and write a whole page on it, man. Concrete River does an amazing job at it. I'm just not that. I don't know if you would say, I don't know if, actually one of my bases is named after Shindo. You got to name one of your RC cars after Abuela and the other one Cardinal. One of my bases is named after Cardinal. And, so I'm not one of these people that Concrete River ID10T. I can't vape a flavor and just write a whole page on it. I can pick the nuance up. I can pick up all the complexity. I can relate it to things in real life that it tastes like to me. I can remember it. I can make notes for myself. They're like a sentence of words divided by commas. You know, I get grape, I get apple, I get whatever. Fruity, dry. Yeah, I'm not that verbal. And I also can't, Dave is very good with words. I'm just not that good with the words. But I vape these flavors solo, and I might vape 30 mils of a flavor solo. I keep trying them at different percentages and jot down a couple of words that remind me of it so I can go back and refer it to it. But the one thing that I can definitely for myself say that will make you a better mixer is to know your concentrates. You can read notes on the internet all day and put things together that are going to taste good. You can read notes on the internet all day to give you an idea of what to buy from stuff. Some people can take those flavor notes off the internet, never buy the flavors, construct a recipe, buy the flavors, and it'll be good. But if you get a certain juice in your mind and you want to sit down and create it, if you know your concentrates, you will know, you'll have the shortest path to get there already. If you try a commercial juice and you want to clone it, if you know your concentrates very well, man, a lot of times you can vape something and pick flavorings out of it. I mean, some people call BS on that and some people don't, but it's true. Unless you're one of these people like the Casadaga guy with the cannolis, man, he used like 20-something flavors. And, I mean, for the juice is good. I think you could get there with fewer flavors, but you can't be cloned using that many flavors. I mean, people can get close to you or make a good cannoli, but they're not going to make your cannoli if you use 27 freaking flavors. So, you want to be a better mixer? Man, vape your flavorings. Find a percentage that's not unpleasant. For some of the stuff just can't be vaped solo, but you need to know what it tastes like. You need to know what it tastes like with other things. There's a lot of these flavors that can be vaped solo. I mean, Mount Baker Vapor half their juices is, I mean, 98% of their juices are single flavors. And people vape them, and they're not the best thing in the world, but they're vapable and most often not unpleasant. Some of them need to be steeped for a long time. But anyway, vape your flavorings, know your flavorings, and you can get there shorter with less waste and less wheel spinning. Should pitch an e-juice mixing class to a college? Shindo, you should, because you approach mixing like a freaking chef, man. Your nose is a thing of mystery. In the hall, I used FLV bourbon in a Castle Long remix, posted in my app. I had 10 alcoholic reviews, all gave me 5 stars in a week. Would use Blackfire for the dirty taste. Could very well be, Jeffrey. Could very well be. I mean, John Nathan's got no reason to lie about, the way he created that juice. But anyway. Right. Anyway, I'm going to start rambling and have even more long, awkward pauses. I think we're about done for this week, guys. Thank you all for coming. And I'll get the video posted later tonight, maybe, if YouTube processes it. If not, it'll be up tomorrow sometime, and Wayne will be linking it on DIY or Die sometime. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in, commented, subscribed, and mixed my stuff. And hope to see you all again next week, man. Peace.